I can't stop thinking about the girl who said she was missing for 8 days when she was a teenager. Like she was on the news and everything. And she explained everything that happened. Like she said when she was 15 years old, she was on social media, having a good time posting her pictures. And of course, these grown men were sliding in her DMs. And she said at some point she started chatting back with them. And she said she was really flattered that they were telling her how sexy she looked. And she was like, okay, I must got it going on. I'm feeling good. She said two men in particular was really becoming close to her. They was chatting every day and then started talking on the phone. She felt like they was really good friends. So when one of them, we'll call him Bruno, told her, hey, I'm going to meet you at your school so we can meet for the first time in person. She was like, okay, let's do that. So she agreed to meet up with him after school, and she told her mama that she was going to be at drama practice so she'll have some time to spend with him. Now, she said they were supposed to like sit outside in his car and talk, but when it came time for them to meet, she was standing out there and she called him and like, where you at? And he said, oh, change your plans last minute. He said, I'm going to send you a Lyft ride, and then you can come on over to my house and we can chill and talk here. And she said at first she was like, wait, this don't sound right. I thought we was just going to chill here in the parking lot, somewhere I know and feel safe. But he was like, come on, we friends. And she said, all right. So the car pulls up. She gets in the car and she rides with the Lyft driver. And she said now she think about how stupid it was, but at the time she was just trusting what this man had said. She said he takes her to the man's house, and she goes in and she meets him, and they start talking and chilling. Then next thing you know, he started putting his hands on her, and he does it with her. Like he's like, he takes it. And afterwards, she said she go in the bathroom and she's looking in the mirror and she's like, wait, what just happened? She said she had never did anything like that before. She ain't never had a man touch her. And all he kept saying during it was like, you grown. This is what grown people do. You grown. This is what grown people do. So she said she went back out in the living room and he was just looking at her, and they started talking again, and he told her and she told him, I want to go home, because by this point she's already late. It's late, way after school. Her phone is blowing up with her family and her friends calling her trying to find out where she at, and she's scared to answer it because she said, y'all don't know my mama, and if my mama knew I was doing something like this, it would be terrible. I didn't even want to answer the phone. And he was like, don't worry about them, just chill, just stay, let's hang out. And she was like, no, she really wanted to go. And finally, he said, all right, where you want me to take you? And she said she didn't want to go home. So she called the other guy who had been in her DMs, and she said, take me to his house. She gets over there to this guy's house and says, when she said, take me to his house, he opens the door, pulls her inside, and he's asking her, like, what happened? And she tells him what happened, what the man did. And he's like, oh, my gosh. But he has, like, only thing in his house is, like, a blow-up mattress. He puts her on the mattress, and he does the same thing to her. So he takes advantage of her. So after that, she's just sitting there and she's just thinking, well, I guess, she said, it's funny because she said that when she was younger, even since the time she was 2, she said men have always put their hands on her. She didn't know that her body was supposed to be her own. She didn't know that nobody's supposed to touch her without her permission. Everybody always did anything they wanted to her, and she just allowed it. So she allowed it then. She said she ended up hanging out at this man's house for days. She didn't want to go home, and he told her, look, I know how it is to have a mother who don't like you and who mistreat you. You don't never got to go back there. I'll protect you. I'll take care of you. And she was like, oh, that sounds good. And she said she was seeing herself on the news. She knew that they had like missing child posters around for her, and day by day that go by, she said people was coming over the house and seeing her there, and she said everybody knew she was a missing child that was looking for on the news, but nobody said anything to her. In fact, more men was hitting her up in her DMs on Instagram and stuff. They knew she was missing, but some people knew where she was, but they wasn't calling the police. They were trying to take advantage of her. She said men was hitting her up saying, are you so-and-so? And she was like, yeah. And they'll be like, well, come to my house. I got some money. I know you need some money. And she said at one point she considered going to the guy's house with him because she did need some money. She said, in fact, ever since she been at that guy's house, he was saying he gonna protect her. He had been feeding her, but he ain't never give her no clothes. He ain't never, let her take a shower. She said her hygiene was bad. She had to change clothes since the day she left, and the days and days was steady going. So she said eventually, after she stayed there for some time, and a lot of people kept coming to the house and seeing her, and nobody was saying go home. One girl came up to her and was like, wait a minute, how old are you? And she said, I'm 15. And she said, wait, what are you doing here? And she was like, I don't know. And then the girl was like, don't you think you should go home? I think you should go home. And she said finally she was happy that somebody finally said it, because she felt like she should too, but she didn't know, because everybody was treating her like it was normal for her to be missing and for her to be over there. So finally, she said she went to some guy house, and the guy snuck her into his house. And when his mama found out, his mama was like, I'm going to take you to the bus station and give you bus fare. I'm not taking you home, though. So she drove him to her to the bus station. She never took the bus. So she's asking the bus driver, like, where do I go? And she said she feel like the bus driver recognized her from the news, and the bus driver just told her, you can go over there. So she walking through downtown. She said everybody's staring at her because they recognize this the missing girl from the news. And finally, they told her, somebody told her, come call the police. And they called the police, and she went with the police, and the police escorted her home. And she said when she got home, her family was just hugging her. They missed her. They loved her. And she said that feeling of everybody wanting her and loving her was so different than what she was used to being around her house. She said her mom was always yelling at her, telling her bad things about herself, and all the love she was receiving when she got back made her feel bad, because when she got home, she looked in her room, and her room was ransacked. It turned out that the police went in there looking for clues and threw everything around, and she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I put my entire family through this, worried about me like that. And she said she didn't know that they cared so much. She didn't think nobody cared. In fact, the whole time she was with that guy for them 8 days sitting at his house when he had the air mattress, she said he was just telling her, nobody don't care about you. I'm the only one that care about you. I'm going to take care of you. Like, he was willing about her stuff, but he wasn't telling her to take a shower and making sure she had clothes and stuff. But she said now that she look at it, she realized, yeah, she was young. Yeah, she was stupid. Yeah, she was supposed to tell people to stop, but she didn't know any of that at that time. But she know now.